Hello, I'm Thomas Neff, and this is my leadership model for engineering leadership. My leadership model is divided up into 3 parts. The first part is an assessment of where I am now with my current leadership abilities. You'll see on the table on this slide that I have listed out my leadership strengths, weaknesses, my behavioral style, and my ideal work distribution. I've gathered these insights from the assessments throughout this course and assessments taken in previous courses. Each of these will be important going forward as I start my career and develop my leadership style. The second part of my leadership style is where I want to go, or my leadership objectives. First, I have listed out the type of leader that I would want to be. So you can see from the bullet points that I would like to be known for delivering results. I would like to be known as a leader with a high amount of emotional intelligence, and I want to gather respect. Next, I have listed my leadership goals for the next 20 years. My first goal is to graduate and start my career as a project engineer come this July. Within 5 years, I would like to become a technical expert within my field and develop my leadership skills. After that, I would like to be promoted into a management position, which will give me more opportunities for growth and leadership development. And finally, I would like to use all of these leadership skills to start my own company within the next 20 years. The third and final part of my leadership model is how I will achieve all of my leadership goals. To achieve my goals, I plan on developing 6 traits which I believe are essential to developing effective leadership. My first leadership trait is to motivate and inspire others. To put it simply, I want to do this by understanding the needs, wants, and desires of my employees and my colleagues. I want to encourage personal mastery and the development of personal visions, and I want to align personal visions with the vision of my organization. The second leadership trait that I will develop is the ability to produce change. Here you can see that I have listed 6 steps that I will use to drive change in my organization. These 6 steps follow the ADAM model, where step 1 and 2 is establish a long-term goal or vision and create a plan to achieve that goal is the design phase of the ADAM model. Step 3 and 4, create a culture and set a direction that aligns with the goal and empower others to achieve that goal is the ACT portion of the ADAM model. And finally, measure is step 5 and 6, which is standardize a new approach and evaluate the consequences of the change. My third leadership trait is to develop other leaders. Here I have listed 3 steps that I talk about in my paper for developing other leaders. Those steps are to care about others and show others that you care, to recognize the potential of others, and to help others achieve and utilize their full potential. The fourth leadership trait is developing emotional intelligence. Here you can see 5 behavioral traits that someone with high emotional intelligence would possess. However, EQ is really important for developing relationships with your people and getting to know them on a personal level. The fifth leadership trait is to use the 5 levels of leadership, which are shown on this slide. The 5 levels of leadership is a valuable skill for a leader to evaluate his performance and his relationships with his people. However, it is important to note that you may not necessarily be on the same level with all of your people. Just because you're on level 5 with one employee doesn't mean that you are on level 5 with all employees. This should really be used as a tool to help you evaluate how you are doing and then hopefully get all of your employees up to level 5. My final leadership trait will to develop systems thinking, and in order to do this, I want to be able to identify loops and archetypes. Now, of course, this can only be done through practice, and I'll need to start with identifying simple systems before I can move on to more complex systems. To demonstrate practicing identifying these loops, I have created an example here of how I will develop as a leader, and you will see that there is both a reinforcing loop and a balancing loop in my example. So that concludes my leadership model, and thank you for listening.